So this video is on why you would want to Euro nymph and add that to your tool bag for fly fishing. Well, a couple of reasons. The first one is that a lot of times the Euro nymph is the only thing that's going to work, especially in the spring. We go down to North Carolina every year, and usually the conditions, you got cold water, you got no hatches, sometimes you get high water, and you got to get flies down to the bottom, and you got to be in contact with those flies. And this system really works well. I've been fly fishing for a long time, and only recently got into fishing with the Euro nymph. What I found was that, in spite of being stubborn and not wanting to do it, it's got its own set of challenges, and it's pretty technical and pretty interesting. So even if you're an old guy like me, it's definitely worth giving it a try. I just got into it a couple years ago, and what I found is I catch a lot more trout, especially in the spring when the conditions are lousy. Another reason on the Euro nymph is catching bigger trout. I find, especially in the spring, that I'm catching a lot bigger sized trout than I used to catch just using conventional fly fishing. This spring I caught a couple. They were like 3 pounds plus, and I never would have got them with any other method. It's nice to catch some big ones once in a while, and even though the rod is really light, it'll handle a big fish. I'm older, and I just got into this in the last couple of years, and I've been fly fishing for a long time. And what I found down there was there's a lot of folks that have been fishing for a long time, and they won't try anything new. Another thing that the Euro rod does is there are days like you would look at the water and say, I'm not going to fish because you're not going to get a nymph down to anything with a indicator. Nothing's going to be hatching. The water's high and lousy. But you can take the Euro rod and go out, and you might have a pretty decent day with the Euro rod, and it might have been a day that you just would have stayed home with everything else. So it gets you a little more on the water, and it's at times when you might not be able to fish any other way. So it's giving you more action, giving you more activity. Do you need to spend a ton of money? You can Euro nymph on your standard dry fly rod that you use. You can just get a rig leader rig and line rig that'll work on the front end of your fly line. So you don't have to go out and invest in new equipment. But I do find I went out and I bought a Euro rod, and I think it makes a big difference in sensitivity and feeling. You're going to feel takes that you might not feel with a conventional rod. Um, it's definitely set up for it much better. And if you do get into it, that's something somewhere down the line you're going to probably end up buying one of the rods. And who doesn't need an excuse to buy a new fly rod? The basic concept of Euro nymphing is not really new. It's just been refined a great deal. I mean, I did a lot of salmon and steelhead fishing on the Lake Ontario trips. We had a technique we called chuck and duck, which was basically using mono with a split shot to get nymphs down where salmon and steelhead would take them. And that was in the 80s. The basic concept's been around for a long time. It's just been very much refined with the leader rigs and the sighters, the indicators that are used. It's been refined a great deal. So I spent the morning doing technical dry fly fishing, which is something I really like, and it's fun. Trying to figure out what they're eating and catching fish. But if I can dry fly fish, I'm going to dry fly fish. But I really do like having the Euro nymph system as part of my toolbox, because there's times when that is the absolute best way to fish, and you're not going to do well with conventional methods. When I was down in North Carolina, there were some other guys in the RV park. There was a trout stream that goes through the RV park, and I am not, super awesome, not bragging or anything like that, but I was catching about 3 or 4 trout to every one they got. It was because I was using the Euro nymph and they weren't using it and wouldn't try it. It was early spring, the water's ice cold, and the fish are right down on the bottom, and that was the only way you were going to present a fly to them. And it really worked well under those conditions. There's times when it's going to outperform anything else. So because of that, it's something you really should add to your toolbox.